be joined by the amazingly talented Tom Cavanagh, who some of you may know from Ed. I used to watch that show. And of course, as the incredible, ever-changing Harrison Wells / Ian Barthon / Tom's already done. Well, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm well, thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing well.
How's your voice?
Oh my goodness, yes, so good. So let's dive in.
Yeah, so how many panels have you done today? I'm going to ask all the questions. See how this panel goes, if all you do is get to answer questions. What time did you get up, early?
No, you're actually my first panel of the day. I have some
what?
later on, I know.
Wow, executive hours, I like that.
So, oh my gosh.
Can I tell you about myself and my day? So I'm directing the superhero show called Superman and Lois. Back in, so you've heard of it, back out west. And I agreed to do this thing, knowing that this day would never come, so I'd never have to come here to do it. And then this crazy thing happened, the Earth kept rotating. Every 24 hours it just kept spinning, and then this day did come. And so last night we were on set, like, I don't know, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I just had enough time to go back to the hotel, get my bag, and then take a flight to, where are we? Kidding. And so I slept Wednesday, and that sleep was 2.5 hours, so who knows what's gonna happen at this point.
Oh my gosh, and then do you have to leave immediately?
No, I'm gonna be here tomorrow. See you tomorrow! But I do take the red eye tomorrow night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Well, I hope in between there's like longer than a 2.5 hour nap.
Yes, so do I. So do I.
Maybe 4 hours?
Yeah, sure. No, I'm fine. It's great. It's great. Thank you, Detroit. What? You're great. I always wanted to come to Truth and Consequences to Mexico, and here we are.
Yeah, it's like Detroit. I thought we were in Mexico City.
I know Salt Lake City very well, by the way. Yeah, I do. Yes, and the reason for that is I filmed here many times. And it really is, honestly, it's a great place. Yeah, so there you are.
It is.
That's the only shameless pandering I'm going to do in this panel.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, it is true. No. That's it. Everything else is going to be one-word answers. Good luck.
Okay, listen, you've played, in my mind, 5.7 million versions of Harrison Wells at this point. So when you first signed on, I mean, like, could you have imagined in your wildest dreams that, like, season after season, you would be able to be reinvented in these ways?
Yes. So when you come, I started doing theater forever, and what we just did there is the hold, which is dangerous. We got a laugh, and then we held, and we got a bigger laugh. The risk is everyone going like, "That wasn't that funny. What are you holding for?" But we held and we did well. I thought we teamed up well. So listen, with the many roles, if you're fortunate enough to be part of a long-running show, generally you're fortunate enough to be part of a long-running show, and generally you do play one character. So for any actor will tell you, and there aren't many of us that have done this kind of thing on like shows that run for a while where we play 4, 5, 6, or in my case 20 different characters, and you're just grateful for it because you understand that it's a very rare thing that rarely happens to any actor, and I did not expect it to happen to me, and I'm very grateful for it.
I mean, listen, you played them all so well. I can't believe that I'm going to say this, but I actually have an affinity for all of them. There's not one that I absolutely hate, but
well,
if you had to choose your least favorite one, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Bright, it's not bright, huh? It's pretty full of himself, and so doesn't like other people, obnoxious, but super smart. So trouble combination. How do you say combination? So not great. I don't know that that's deserving of any applause. he said, woo! I can't even remember what the question was. Again, no sleep, something?
Oh no, I was saying, so which one was kind of like your favorite? Do you have an affinity for playing it? Which one are you kind of like, don't bring that back?
Well, I created all of them, so there's nobody that I don't like. You know, I'm going to create a character that I really don't like playing. That's not how it works. So, yeah, I mean, the politically correct answer is, you know, and I know it sounds politically correct, but it's also true. The one that I'm playing that day, I'm grateful to be playing. I really am. And the reason that I do the show is for the Reverse Flash. So knowing that we're always going to, you know, gear up and start getting after Alan again, and the Flash is, you know, that's the raison d'etre for that show for me. So it's a great combination to do all those acting exercises and be a supervillain.
Now listen, I wouldn't be a good journalist if I didn't ask. You said you were leaving the show, then they got you to come back, and now we know that this is the final season.
Right.
It is currently in production.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more versions of Harrison Wells this final season?
I don't think so. They seem to have a full complement over there, and you know, good on them.
Okay. Well, I know that you were in the director's chair a lot. Would you come back to direct an episode for the final season?
I think if they, yeah, the ones, I mean, I like doing, you know, on Superman and Lois, you know, I've done their finales and the premieres, and on Flash I've done the 100th episode, so, yeah, if I were invited back to do, like, the, you know, an episode that has that kind of significance, I would be more than happy to. Grant Gustin, do you know who that is? Is a delight to direct. And I'll tell you why. Grant Gustin, I know that you all know who he is, and I think that you all know that he does a grand job playing Barry Allen, the Flash, but I don't know that people have a complete understanding of how talented he is in degrees, which means like if the emotion is called to be like upset, he can play against that conflict in measured degrees better than many people that you see on screen, and I don't know that he gets enough credit for the varying degrees and measures that he brings to that character. When you direct him, you can say stuff like, honestly, I think it's 6% more. He can give you 6%, as opposed to somebody doubling down and giving you 50%. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a joy to direct. So I would, you know, obviously, anytime that I would be invited, I would love to direct him again.
I hope they invite you back, and I'm so glad you said that, because honestly, that very first season finale, Grant's emotional range just at the end when he's weeping is so good, and I don't think people give him enough credit for that.
He's exceptional. If you know the show well, there's an episode. This wasn't directed by me. It was directed by Gregory Smith, who's an incredibly talented director, actor as well. From you guys know his. Yeah, thank you. You know his credits. But Gregory directed an episode where we open with the Flash, and he's upset. You don't know why he's upset, because an atom bomb is exploding, a nuclear bomb, and it's all in Flash time, seconds before the imminent destruction. And Grant's performance in that is, they don't give Emmys to superhero shows, as you all know, but I kind of feel his performance in that was definitely deserving of some form of trophy, maybe a bag of jujubes or something, some Twix, popcorn, a lifetime of popcorn, Kramer on, what the heck that show was, Seinfeld, you get free Starbucks coffee, I'll take it, something. What was the question?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be laughing this whole time, I fear. So, in terms of what you'll miss the most, just about the series, about the cast, about playing all of the incredible version of Wells, like, what is your top memory, I guess, from the show as we go into this final season?
You know, I think there's, if you, and I assume most people are very knowledgeable in the, you know, comic world. You know, there's Joker to the Batman, there's Lex Luthor to Superman, there's Reverse Flash to Flash, and there's the Avengers that you see on screen and the DC performers, but there's only, given the fact that there's 10 million actors out there, there's a very small number of us that get to put on an iconic supersuit, hero or villain, and I think for me, the privilege to put on the suit is, I know that it's exceptionally rare, and I'm very grateful for it.
Oh, I love it. Okay, wait.
You guys want to watch?
I did, because I have to make sure. I promised some people I would let them ask questions, so.
Keep talking about your stupid supersuit. Yeah.
No, I like to keep my promises, and people have already asked me, so I was like, okay, now's the time if people want to start lining up
to answer questions.
Some questions. So
Jeez, they lined up in a hurry.
I know.
Wow. In a flash.
Now I do have to ask, since you created every single version of Wells, was there one that you pitched that they said no to?
No.
That's lovely.
They never said no, and I've got like about another 17 in my back pocket.
So I need you.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them on there that you guys would like or not like. There's a litany of, there's an aggressive guy, that guy, he hasn't shown up. And he'd be tough to deal with. He'd be very tough to deal with, but he'd be great. He'd be great in the end. He'd die, but he'd be great. Die, but great. Would you like to see that guy or not? Yeah. Admiral Wells? Yeah. No, he'd be great. He'd be great. I don't know if he'd be great. He might be great. He's not great. He might be great. He'd die, but he'd be great.
Would he die instantly?
And that guy's not even the top. He's not even the top 5 that I have still in the back pocket. But anyway, so that gives you some inclination.
Oh no, now I want to know the number 1 that's in your back pocket.
I don't know what you do. Question. What was the question?
Oh.
Was there a question?
Is there a question?
I'm asking. Rest. Hi. Well, so the question was, would like to be in a wheelchair, as well as in the first season. As you know, it's a challenge, and I think everybody should. I spent, the cast will tell you, I spent a lot of time just trying to get into the familiarity of it. Like just wheeling around doing things. And what was funny is they all want to jump in the chair. And I got not good at it, but if you look at the cortex on the Flash, I've got a bunch of dents in the wall because I wasn't good at it, and I would just run full tilt. That thing had like a speed setting, and I would like to put it up to 5 and see if I could make the turn. Oftentimes couldn't make the turn. But it gives you an appreciation for so many different things, and I was very grateful to be included. Yeah, thank you. Cheers.
Just a real quick technical.
Our microphone's not working. You can ask me the question, I can repeat it back for people if you like. What? I'm kidding.
With all the versions of Paris that you played, and I know it's difficult to remember, or it may be difficult to remember as an actor. Do you have like crib sheets around the set? Do you have the writers help you remember your characters so that you don't slip in and out of the wrong character as you're playing the right?
I can stop you. That's a very simple answer. No. Not only that, I'm making up half the lines anyway. Like Sherlock, that's a guy I know intimately well that I bring to the thing, and so there's no the showrunner in season 2 was like, just keep doing your thing. We'll catch up in the writers' room. You know what I mean? It's like you wouldn't say it this way, you wouldn't say it that way, and once you create them, I have them right here. I can go from HR, and it doesn't affect me at all, to Sherlock, that's right, to Nash Wells, to Harry. I can, they're all there. I can just do to Wells the Grey, so, yeah. They're just, I don't know that it's talent, it's just, that's what my job is. You know what I mean? It's like, you do your job well, and, people don't go like, hey, that's amazing that you did your job. You're like, yeah, that's my job. You're not even in the lineup.
Did you ever give a backstory to one of your Harrison Wells that wasn't showed in the show?
Run it by me again. Did I ever see it? Was there ever a backstory that we didn't show?
Like, did you ever come up with a backstory for one of the Harrison Wells that we never saw in the show?
No, not really. You know, like I sort of feel like there, you know, when you do a television show called The Flash, you can't expect to get any screen time. You know, like they gotta answer whatever Frost is doing and whatever the Wests are doing, and especially whatever, you know, Grant and Candace are doing. And so when you sign up to a show like that, you're like, yeah, I've always said the thing you need on The Flash is The Flash. And the rest of us, you know, we're helpful, you know, but we're foot soldiers really. And so you know, it's like you're not there to have your story expounded upon. You're there to help The Flash tell the Flash's story. You're welcome. I'm not going to say a thing. Can anyone see this right here, what's happening? I'm not going to say a thing.
Hi, Tom. My girlfriend.
Hello? What? Where's that coming from?
So my girlfriend back there was trying to take a look at your. Oh my gosh. Hey, Tom.
It's got to be here somewhere.
Yeah. 12 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. My girlfriend was too nervous to come up with a question, so I was wondering, is there a question that you have always wanted to be asked that no one's asked you yet?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah. So there is, and I think when you do these shows, the question would be, do you get enough credit? And I'm not joking, like, do we as actors get enough credit for what happens on the screen? And the answer would be too much credit. They're so hard to put these shows together. They really are, like from the heads of construction to the stunt women and stunt men that work painless hours to put in the rehearsal time for something that inevitably gets cut and whittled down to 20% of what they did and worked so hard on. And there's a cavalcade of crew and department heads and people putting so many hours in, and it's really hard to do an hour-long television show. When it's an hour-long television show, it's next to impossible to do a television show that's an hour-long that has stunts and green screen and visual effects and rain and night shoots. And we're the faces of a legion of people that suffer way more than we do on a cold, rainy night and never get any credit at all for the story being told. Every department on a television show and on a feature film contributes to the story. And, Chris Evans gets all the stupid credit. I'm joking, I love Evans, but you know what I mean? And that's part and parcel of what we do, but I'm glad you asked that question, because really, I would take advantage of that question to say, yeah, next time you watch, just be aware that somebody worked their heart out, diving into that wall, and it wasn't, Grant, it was another person, and, that they get credit too for the story being told.
Thank you, Tom.
Really great to have you here. I'm curious, you've been in front of the camera, you've been behind the camera. Is there one role, which do you prefer or not, and why?
Have you guys heard of this actor, Clint Eastwood? I couldn't even do it with a straight face. I tried. No, let me try that again. Have you guys heard of this actor, Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
See, that was a better delivery on my part. So Clint Eastwood, was won Oscar awards, was the top box office actor for many years, and they asked him why he wanted to direct. It's like $1 Million Baby and Unforgiven and all these things. And he said his answer was, I'm going to do a bad Clint Eastwood impersonation, because I didn't want to stop acting. And so that's basically it for me. Like, I love being behind the camera telling the story because it shines a light on the thing that I love to do, which is act.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Are you filming this?
I am.
Yeah, okay, good. Hey, go ahead. Okay, good. So stupid, this question. Ethan?
Yes.
Yeah, see, who's good? Huh? Who's good with names? And I haven't slept. His name is Ethan, and he has good hair. Okay, go.
I want to be an actor. I was going to ask you, do you have any advice?
Yeah. Okay, so this is, for anybody who wants to, this is the most important thing I can tell you, and it's not my thing, it was relayed to me at 3 o'clock in the morning by an older Italian actor who'd been the star of spaghetti westerns like Clint Eastwood did, and we were out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, it was cold, and he goes, if you want to be an actor, you should be an actor. And I'm not trying to be mean, you have to need to be an actor. And there's a massive difference there, and you know inside you. And if you know inside you, then you'll be fine. You'll just keep going forward. And by going forward, your story will be different than my story, but my story was a church basement theater, insane asylum theater, nothing that would ever get seen. It's theater with my friends, because the very act of doing it opens doors that you will then walk through and take you to where you need to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi there.
Hello.
Yeah, my name is Steven. So my question for you is, out of all the Harrison Wells, who would survive in the battle royale?
In what?
In the battle royale, like a Hunger Games.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a fun question.
So you're not counting, you're not counting reverse flash.
No, I'm not counting that.
Because you'll go very fast.
He's a menace. He's a menace. So,
You'd be like, let the games begin.
so you're assuming
Look at all those dead Welses.
So you're assuming that none of them have powers? None of them. Like just a good Harrison.
It would be the one that I'm playing. And whichever one that one was that day, that guy would win.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Right.
Hey Tom, I'm
Hello.
Ryan. So my question is,
Or are you
but-
Superman?
no, I'm Jameson.
Okay, good.
But anyway,
Well, that's comfortable.
my question is, besides that one episode with meeting with all the Wells, you know, when you were all
Was that just one episode? There was a bunch of those episodes.
besides that one, what was the funniest thing that ever happened on The Flash, behind the scenes?
Oh, behind the scenes, yeah, I'll share that with you guys publicly while you're filming with a camera. And you set your thing up all wrong, mate. You were like, what's the funniest thing that happened on The Flash behind the scenes? So, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you the top 50, but you can ask around from the cast of The Flash who the merriest prankster is on that set. And I'm pretty sure it'll be a universal response, this guy.
I think that's a better way of answering it.
So you can go ahead and ask them what's the worst thing I've done to them. But here's the thing.
Worst thing you've done to them.
Yeah, I've done bad things to all of them. Poor suckers. And I can't really, I can't really say anything. I can say stupid things that are innocent, like, you know, we're doing a scene in Panaviga, we'll drink her beer, and then she'll be like, and then, God, Tom! You know, it's filled with salt, you know, we're like, you really gotta, you know, I'm like Tommy Felton. Have you ever heard of Tom Felton? Yeah, he's a gem. That guy's a gem. And the poor guy did nothing to deserve what he got. But there are moments when Felton and I would be doing a scene, and they'd be able to roll camera, and if you would be, this is what you'd see, he'd be like, please leave me alone in this take. You just, yeah, please. I'm thanking you. Please leave me out of this thing. One time, HR, this is there's nothing bad about this thing at all, but he had a close up and he had to show up and he was going for a date and I was welcoming him to his place and I was like playing HR on a scooter and I show up and he comes in the door and he's got to be serious because he's got this date and I walked up to him and I just went, it's not scripted obviously, and I walked up to him and instead of saying my line, I just went to him and said, "Hello, Bond." And then that was it for Felton for like 5 minutes. And then he was like, "Don't do it, I won't, I promise you I won't." Action. "Hello, James." Non-stop, right? It's not, I can't, those are the only ones that I can't. The good stuff is, I'll let them tell you the good stuff if they want. And they won't want, believe me. You're never gonna hear.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Come on, that got applause. Oh, one person mean to another person. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you know, Tom Felton is one of the greatest human beings. Not actors, he's a great actor, but one of the greatest human beings I've ever met on the planet. And if you ever get a chance at one of these to come up and say hello to Tom, do so. He is one of the grandest human beings you could ever encounter in your life. Just an incredible human being. A guy who's like, grew up famous and somehow is the most grounded, down-to-earth, wonderful person you could ever hope to meet. So if you get a chance to say hi to him, say hi to him.
I wondered, the whole concept of multiple wells upon multiple wells, did the writers start coming up with that in season 1? Did that start in season 2? How did that explode?
No, I think Greg Berlanti, the concept of it is full credit goes to Greg Berlanti and Todd Helbing, because after season 1, that was it for me. As you know, like, this show seems like a successful show, but at the time, I've now done 4, but that was my 3rd show for Greg Berlanti, who became Hollywood's top producer. But at the time, the first 2 shows we'd done had not lasted long. One had been Jack and Bobby had been canceled really quickly, and when Greg was talking about The Flash, the way he looked at it, he loved The Flash so much he wanted to do at least 1 season to have that DVD on his desk. That age isn't DVD, but that's what he said. And so success is a promise, and most of the time the stats bear out that your show is going to get canceled, and most of the time it does get canceled. And so we came into season 1 hoping that we could get a season 1, and it was very simple and clean storytelling because of that. It was Flash versus who's Reverse Flash, Reverse Flash, and really that was the arc, and it was clean, concise storytelling. When it was done and we got canceled, we finished off, spoiler alert, season 1, if I have to spoiler alert, then do your homework, man. Flash versus Reverse Flash, and guess what? Flash wins. And after that, I was like, that's great, thank you. I had a great season, I love the season. There's no way you could double down on the Reverse Flash on every 4th episode, have him on the rooftop going like, you won't stop me, Flash. It just doesn't work. And I, was like, okay, that's it, thank you. And then Greg was like, what if? And, if you could create characters, and I was like, if I could keep putting on the iconic suit while I'm doing that, then I'd be more than willing to take a look at it. And that's how it all started.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, first of all, you inspire me so much. Ethan with the good hair took my question, so.
Ethan!
Yeah, I was wondering if you suggest, as an actor, to film superhero shows.
Sorry, what's the question? And I know you're winging it because you just took your stupid question. So
Do you
what's...
suggest, as an actor, to perform in superhero shows?
Would you recommend?
What would I recommend? Oh, I'm
Would you
sorry.
recommend performing in superhero shows?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's a funny thing. Like, on social media, like your generation, social media makes things, it's sometimes hard to have a sense of where you are grounded and where you are, I think. Because if you want to declare yourself the center of the universe, you can create that on social media. And you can feel like you're a big deal on social media. And sometimes it's hard work to remember that you're just on the periphery television, which is sort of what these superhero shows are. They're for people that want to venture out to the far arm of the Milky Way and be a part of these shows. You people, me, us, and so it's an exercise for an actor that I would, if you have a chance to do it, 100% do it, because there's nothing, I've done this for 30 years, there's nothing really like it, where, one of the reasons I would urge people to do it is for a while, you used to have to the Enterprise is not really going through space. It used to be like you didn't have the wherewithal with the technology that existed to make it look real and good. I'm directing Superman and Lois, and we're doing what's scripted as the most epic fight ever put on screen. And you could never, ever have done that on a television show, ever. That would have been the domain of the big screen. That would have been Shannon and Cavill and have at it, but now we can do that. We have the technology and the imagination, and we shoot anamorphic lenses on Superman to make it look like widescreen, like big screen. And the idea that you can have a combination of heart and family and spectacle and $4 million budgets for visual effects and digital expertise, and you can create this thing, is something that never existed 10 years ago. And so if you have an opportunity to jump aboard the ship that used to be reserved for Scarlett Johansson and the gang over at Avengers, you can, if you have that opportunity, you should do it. You should definitely, everybody, hey, get a chance, go do it. You will not regret it. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, you're amazing.
Thank you, cheers.
So I was wondering if there's anyone in the crossovers that you didn't get to work with that you would like to get a chance to work with.
Oh, that's a great question. What are the crossovers?
They have like 50 actors.
I know.
Like all of them.
Here's the thing about the crossovers. Phil Chipper. Google Phil Chipper, C-H-I-P-E-R-A. He's a director, but he was a first AD on those crossovers. Melissa Benoist, yes, we know who that is. So she plays Supergirl. When you're Supergirl on Supergirl, and you have to shoot the episode of Supergirl, you don't have time in that 8-day window to also go be the lead on Arrow and Legends and Flash. It doesn't exist, that time doesn't exist. Phil Chipper created a military-style board that allowed us to have 2 hours on Arrow, 2 hours on Supergirl, 2 hours, and moving parts like I've never seen in my career. It was simply absolutely stunning. And so the better answer to your question is the fact that I work with Tyler, and I work with Tommy Felton, and I work with Bitsy, and I work with Melissa and Steven and Grant is stunning that they pulled that off. And so that's what I'm grateful for, the fact that I worked with as many as I did. They should do a crossover. Are we rolling? Don't do a crossover, you don't know what you're doing. What? Go ahead.
I think he said that. Yeah, he said that.
I was wondering, what can we, the fans, do to encourage NBC Universal to do a home release of the program again?
That's a great question.
You know what's interesting? So the question was, I did this television show, it was the 40s, our boys were just coming home from war, and it was called Ed. The reason that's what that applause is the very definition of smattering is because a very large portion of people do not know, have never heard of this show, and it's for the reason that this gentleman has said, it's not out there. And the reason it is music rights. So Ed was, every show that got a third, a quarter of the viewership that this show got is streaming on Netflix and Hulu, and this show had a 4.5-year run, won a bunch of awards, had Julie Bowen, who's won every Emmy on, Modern Family. It's got a cast of, just a delightful cast, run by the people who do Everyone Loves Raymond and The Late Show, are just like very talented human beings. Robert Edmund might be the most talented human being on the planet. And I do take your question seriously because honestly, I think it's sad and I find it, it's disappointing that we put that much time and effort into something and it's not up there on the streamer, it's not available. For you to think, not my bag, but might be your bag, you know, at least I would like the public in the streaming age to decide. And I'm not a letter campaign writing guy, and when I left that show, I was like, well, that's over. But I do now think that, you know, that show, the reason that I'm on that television show that I'm on is because that show gave me things that people then recognize, you know, and so I'm grateful. I have nothing but gratitude for that show and the profile it offered, and I would like it to be recognized. And what you could do as a public, I don't know how these things work. I think that, you know, I think that in the social media age, I have found that, was it Firefly, or, you know, there's shows that get like a limited release again. And you'll probably have, I'm sure you have those names on the top of your head, but they come back and you're like, I would love for that to happen because I kind of think it's worth it. I have, you know, asked UT, my agents, what can we do? And, you know, been met with the response that you get in Hollywood. It's like, let's look and see what we can do there, you know? And so I think it has to come from the public if the public is interested. I think it has to be something like, what can we do? Why isn't it? You know, and well, the answer will be music rights, and it feels to me that, but that's not a world-ending issue, is it? Like, it feels like there's people that can solve music rights. Isn't there? Doesn't that happen like every 14 minutes? So that's enough I'm going to say about that, but if it does, like if the public is behind it, that would be wonderful. I know, honestly.
So,
NBC, put it on Peacock. It's the same family. I'm just quoting this.
we solved the issue here at FanX, so don't forget to write us.
Yeah, exactly right. FanX is great.
Hi, I watched The Flash during COVID. I know it was on a lot longer before that, but that's when we got kind of interested in it. So thank you. That kind of saved us from boredom a lot.
Good. I'm glad.
But anyway, I think this isn't much of a question, but as a compliment. Sometimes, you know, I just Google cast members as I'm watching something for the first time.
That's not creepy. Go on.
I know I'm not the only one, since it's always there, but I thought the most impressive thing about you is that you've been married for almost 20 years and 4 children. So I think that's kind of a rare thing in Hollywood. So,
Well, I'm not going to, you know, that's more important than actually saying words. Your words have been heard, and I don't talk about my family because that's probably one of the main reasons that, you know, anyway, thank you. Yeah.
But anyway, I think that was like the most special thing. I'm like, that's impressive. So, thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, guys, I have a 3-minute warning, so let's see how fast we can go.
Two now, isn't it?
I know, probably.
Yeah. Hello.
Did you audition for The Flash at all? And if you did, how did you do your audition and what role did you want?
Are you an actor? Yeah, so I did not audition for it. Like I said, I worked with Greg before, so he asked me if I would do it, and I was like, play a scientist? And then he was like, you idiot. He's the main villain. And I was like, you could have just said that. But when auditioning, there's a couple of things that I think are really important, and that is when I do audition for things, I'm super prepared. And I'm also, I go in and I'm not needy. I walk in, I do the thing, I say thank you, I get out. Because, you know, when you carry yourself like somebody that's going to put them at ease on the day, they're more inclined to want to align themselves with you.
Okay, this is the last question. No pressure.
What's your garment from, by the way? I'm kidding. Slytherin, man.
hinted to the answer to my question, but my question was, like, you play a good guy, a bad guy, a semi-good bad guy, a smart guy, a dumb guy, a semi-smart dumb guy, so I was like wondering, out of all of the versions, which is closest to your actual personality?
Dumb guy. I think we've got, like, how many people are in here? We got a lot of witnesses to that. And by the way, you ran down those, you got to the heart of them so quickly. You should be working PR. He plays a dumb guy, a smart guy, a semi-smart guy, a dumb guy who thinks he's a smart guy. One of my favorite things to do, though, is to play characters who are dumb but think they're smart. Like, that's just a super joy of mine, you know, so maybe I'm a dumb guy who thinks he's smart, which is in many ways even worse.